Right.
Speaking of that, there's a lady in my church, my first church. I went to visit her one time in her house, and she had this cup on the kitchen counter, and it was filled with these looking like black, swollen looking, horrible, ugly, I don't know what it was, and some white liquid. And I said, Miss Jeanette, what is that? She goes, oh, she was real country. She says, those are my raisins. I said, what? She goes, here's my raisins, my gin raisins.
My gin raisins.
Yeah. And she, and then every evening,
she
doesn't drink.
She doesn't drink.
No, she doesn't believe
like raisins.
No, you don't drink. You don't drink alcohol.
They turn into grapes.
This is Matt Russell.
And this is Pod Have Mercy.
Actually, this week is Thanksgiving.
How did this happen?
I know. I don't know. My mother is coming in town.
Really?
Yeah.
How long will she be in town, John?
Long time.
Is she going to stay through Christmas?
She's not staying through Christmas. But I mean, what's Thanksgiving without a little emotional scarring? Right? I mean, it's like it wouldn't be Thanksgiving if there wasn't a little emotional scarring.
Somebody can't shame you like your mother and father can, right?
Yeah.
There's just go there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was the old Irma Bombeck saying? It's like at my household, gravy is considered a beverage. I mean, it's like when we make gravy, it's like there's not, you see the little gravy boats, they're like this, like the little gravy boats, man. Ours came in like Tupperware containers with lids.
And a straw. Put it in my Yeti. Let's carry that thing with me.
I love it. It's like I can't remember who else it was said that Thanksgiving was it. It's so we call Thanksgiving because we're so thankful that it only comes once a year.
Yes.
Do I was reading this thing. It's like all the things you need to do to prepare for Thanksgiving, and it was all just like check your utensils and check your pots and make sure everything's good. And prepare your house, and it's like get everything ready for your guests to come. And all I was thinking was, man, last year you probably didn't have the opportunity, or maybe some people did, but a lot of people didn't go, travel and stay at people's homes. And this year, you probably got it.
The gloves are off.
It's back. We're back.
They're back.
We're live.
And I don't know about you, but I've experienced, Stephanie, my wife, and I were talking about this recently. It's almost like I used to love to be around people. I wanted to be around people, and I would seek being around people. And if there was an event going on, I wanted to be at the event. Now it's kind of like, meh, you want to go be around people? Not really. No.
People.
I'm good on people.
I'm good.
Well, there was somebody who was telling me, I don't remember, I shouldn't say because it's probably somebody, it could be somebody that listens to the podcast. It was like somebody was coming to town to visit like the kids, and they were bringing the in-laws, but apparently the in-laws they hadn't talked to in a long time or seen or whatever. So they're all coming to this house. I'm thinking, man, this is an interesting dynamic. And they said, oh, by the way, we're bringing our dogs and we're going to stay for a week. I thought, interesting. Mm-hmm. Could write a book about that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, both of my parents are gone. And when I see the tension that, in everybody else's family, I'm like, I have some really good memories I'm going to hold on to.
Yeah, right. Last year, y'all did a turkey frying instructional video.
Oh, yeah, we had the video of the turkey fry. I'm going to fry turkeys Saturday.
That was last year, John?
That was
a year ago.
That was 15 years ago when we did that episode on Thanksgiving.
I was 32 then, right?
Yeah.
Don't you remember we watched all the videos of all the turkey frying gone bad?
The best. You know what I did? And you gave me good instruction because the day before that I
got
those chickens.
Oh, did I give you my turkey fry?
Yes, you let me use the turkey
Now it's coming
fryer.
back to me.
Right?
Coming back.
Oh my
and
gosh.
you made me sign. Sign a release.
I did.
I just signed a release.
Made you sign a release.
Right? Because you showed me all those
How do we
videos about people
forget these
burning
things?
themselves and setting their
forgot
house
about
on
that.
fire. I went over to your house and you gave me an instruction because you went out of town.
Yes, we were going to be gone.
Yeah, and so I used your.
We're usually gone for Thanksgiving, but we're not this year. You can't borrow my turkey fryer
Well,
this year.
I've been looking at them. I've been eyeballing.
Yeah, you need to get one. They're really good.
Great. And you know what I ended up doing is I fried a turkey of my neighbors. I was like I put it out in my front, and I had like two neighbors come over and ask
Got a
if they could
sign
fry.
out
Yeah.
said, "Hey,
I'm like,
have turkey, we'll fry."
we'll fry. It was great.
Yeah, we're gonna do that. So on Thanksgiving, it'll just be
a good idea.
On Thanksgiving, it'll just be me and my wife and my mother, and then my youngest daughter, Maddie. Then, we're in this period which you'll experience someday, where now that my oldest daughter is married, they have to alternate holidays, right? So this year they do Thanksgiving Day with my son-in-law's family, and then on Saturday they're all coming over to do, which seems not fair. So why is it on Thursday they're going to his family, but I'm not invited?
Oh, yeah.
But on Saturday they're coming to do Thanksgiving with
And
him,
the in-laws?
and his entire family is coming.
Oh,
Interesting.
free food.
Huh. I'm just now putting this together.
I got a bone to pick. Well. Isn't that interesting?
What's your favorite?
Well.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving memory?
Oh, my goodness. So my mom used to haul us out of bed. I don't know if it's my favorite. It's my most dominant. And we would have to run the turkey trot.
Oh, they do that too.
Yeah, we would and
Hey.
I just remember at a certain
You do that?
time.
That's a great video idea.
Let's just a turkey trot of two.
What's a great?
The two turkeys trotting.
You two running the turkey trot.
No, I'll tell you what we'll do.
record
I'll get one of those strollers, those jogging strollers,
and I'll push you. That would be the. I would do that.
If you do that, I'll dress up as a turkey and hand out
No, I want you to dress up as a baby
turkey legs
with a little bonnet on, and you can hand out turkey
my
legs. I would
God.
do that all day long.
turkey trot. Yeah, I think that my son-in-law's family does that.
Yeah.
I think so.
I'm doing it this year.
Are you?
Yeah,
It's are you doing the 8 or the 3?
the 3.
Yeah, I'll probably do it too.
Yeah.
All right, what's your favorite turkey memory? Thanksgiving memory?
Well, probably my daughter was born. My oldest daughter's birthday is like November 23rd. So some years it falls on Thanksgiving Day. I can't remember if that year when she was born it did or not, but it was close. So every Thanksgiving is always her birthday. But the last 22 years, we've always done Thanksgiving. You got a little foam right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, then we've done Thanksgiving with Stephanie's family in Georgia, in the North Georgia mountains.
Okay.
Or a couple of years in Florida when there was fires in the mountain. There's a fire on the mountain. But so now what's happened is the nephews are old enough. Same thing. They're all married. They're starting to have kids. So now they have to be with their families. So this year is the first year in 22, 23 years that we will be home for Thanksgiving.
And all your kids aren't going to be there.
Yeah.
So what time should we show up?
You can come anytime you want.
I'll just bring all my kids over and we'll just do this. Jeff, you
Down.
got plans? Come on.
Do you have plans?
Let's just
I
do
don't.
this.
Come on.
Come on to our house.
I am going to turkey trot in the morning, though.
Well,
Turkey
I'll
trot in the
with
morning
you.
and then come
Will you?
over.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd love to trot.
Trust me, my 21-year-old daughter is going to be looking for somebody cool to hang out with besides me.
And it would not be me. That would be you, Jeff.
I'll bring my fidget spinner and my...
Your fidget
You know what I
spinner.
think we're going to do? I think there's going to be karaoke.
Oh, I've seen
I
little
rocked it last.
videos.
I know. We've
of
done
that.
karaoke.
I saw videos of that and was like, why was Matt Russell not
Well,
invited?
I think-
the fun factor for Matt was a little off last year because of that.
Yeah.
I think that it's my mom loves karaoke, especially after a couple glasses of wine.
Oh, yeah.
She's great at karaoke.
Your mom's a hoot.
She is a hoot.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are great. Jeff, what's your favorite memory for Thanksgiving? You have one?
I used to love just tossing the football. You'd watch the Cowboys.
That's all right. Just let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
You're really young.
I'm 33.
13.
33 years old.
33.
You know, no one I know that age says, we're just tossing the
out there
football.
tossing the old pigskin.
Tossing the old pigskin in the
33.
backyard of Thanksgiving.
It's your Jesus.
That's
your
what I
Jesus
remember.
birthday.
Yeah, that's what I remember is going out full stomach, just bloated belly, throwing the football around, trying to keep it all in.
Yeah.
Was it
Pies.
Was it Jim Gaffigan or whatever the comedian? He says he said Thanksgiving tradition is we overeat, and he says, hey, how about at Thanksgiving we just eat a lot? He goes, we eat a lot all the time. We eat a lot every day. He goes, oh, well, what if we eat a lot on this particular day when we're around a lot of people who annoy the hell out of us? That's what makes Thanksgiving unique.
It's just bury your feelings in food.
Yeah,
That's great.
it.
I do remember, the families being together. When I was young, you would have family gatherings. It was never really just like all us by ourselves.
No.
We'd be with the cousins and the uncles.
Oh, yeah.
Football in the front yard.
Oh yeah,
kind of stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, I miss that a lot.
Bring your football.
Okay,
We'll toss it on Gessner at Gessner and Memorial.
Yeah, go long, Jeff.
The only bad thing
Go
about
long, Jeff.
living in a city with
Yeah,
8
I'll
million
hit you at
people.
about Memorial.
it'll be traffic.
Yeah, we'll play football in the street of I-10.
And it's going to be shirts and skins. That'd be really fun. All right, those days are over.
These are over.
Well, I think I'm kind of ready. So the other thing I did, I posted on social media this past weekend, is I put up my Christmas decorations 2 weeks. So it was last weekend. No, it was past weekend. So it'd be 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. I've never done that before.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And you know what? People, I saw on your Facebook post, like other people are like, I did too. It's like,
So I've always been the kind of person that was like, look at those people putting up their decorations so early. What do they think they're doing? They're ruining the season. I was just like, bah humbug.
Thanksgiving
like
first.
Thanksgiving. You remember, like Halloween, they start putting decorations out Halloween in August, and I was just like pissing and moaning. I can't believe they're doing that. It's ruining. You can't enjoy anything good anymore.
Must be from
and
Tennessee.
Then it's like Santa Claus shows up in Christmas carols in Walmart starting in like September, and I'm like, dadgummit. Ruin the whole thing. And I'm like, man, this year I am putting up my Christmas tree. I put it up. I was ready. We've been sitting in there, turning the lights on.
That's great.
I am listening to Christmas music. I found a study that says if you listen, the earlier you listen to Christmas music, the happier you are.
Dude, it's going on. It's going on then. Can you buy a live tree? Because I'm a live tree guy.
Yep.
Ooh.
I normally
I may do that.
If you the problem with buying a live tree 2 weeks before Thanksgiving is be like, what's it, Christmas Vacation? When
He's going to set
tree goes
on
up
fire.
The dog drank all the water out of the bowl, remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the plan for the podcast the next month?
So today we're doing a special Thanksgiving episode.
Yes.
Brought to you by
Turkeys.
Lampshade Coffee.
Deep
Brought to you
deep
by
fryers
Bobby Woolley, who
everywhere.
makes us cappuccino. The Chapelwood Coffee Shop.
And Crisco.
Yeah. This is our holiday special. No, I think so I think we're going to take some time off, but we are going to surprise people. I think we're going to do some kind of a Christmas pop-up. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have special guests. It's going to be like a variety show.
Ooh.
I like that.
I don't know. I just said that.
From John's house.
Yes.
Ooh,
In John's hot tub.
You want to do it from the house?
Yeah.
From the hot tub.
Oh, we could do it. That would
With
be
karaoke.
really-
With karaoke going.
You want to do karaoke?
Let's make this as absurd
Why
as
don't we
we
have?
can.
Why don't we have people email? All right, to Christmas podcast
At Jeff.
at jeff.com. And let's just let Jeff know what you want to see on the special Christmas podcast.
Absolutely.
And who?
So yeah, we'll do something that'll pop up to help us think about the season, frame Christmas. But over the next month or so, we're gonna kind of be laying low,
Cool.
recovering. It's been a tough 2 years,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I'm in a much better headspace.
You are.
I hope you are.
I am. I feel. Yes, I am. It's good.
I'm riding my Peloton now.
Yeah. That's what I hear.
Yeah.
Do you like it?
No. No, it's so funny. Here's one thing I've learned. If you're back into exercising for a week, like 1 week,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you think, oh, I feel really good.
I got this.
So I'm going to the 30-minute classic rock, Emma Lovewell, moderate bikes class.
Yeah.
And in the warm-up, she's like, all right, we're going to put the resistance on, 55 to 65. We're going to get our cadence at 80 to 100. And I'm thinking, I'm going, oh, man, this is hard. I'm like, we're just in the warm-up. We haven't even started yet.
This is bad news.
I hit back out. No, stop. And now Peloton's like, oh, do you want to pause this and come back? I said, no, I'm not coming back. Are you sure you want to cancel this? Because if you cancel it, it's over. You can't. I was like, no, I want to cancel it. Are you sure you want to confirm? I was like, dude, really?
Dude, really, please.
I was like, yes, I want it done. So then I went back to the beginner folder
Yeah, downhill. We're gonna set you on the top of a hill, and you're gonna
baby.
coast.
Just coast.
And you're going, dude.
Well, let me
this
just
is so
tell
hard.
you, beginner for me,
Your legs out.
beginner for me is still not
put the
easy.
fan on.
But it's a workout. I mean, I'm sweating, but I'm the beginner. You know,
You do
get
that
to.
every day?
Hey, here's how I know. Yeah. Well, not every day, but I've exercised every day for the past 10 days.
Wow.
Look at that, John.
That's awesome.
My pants are not as tight, which is good, and I just feel better.
Yeah. It's for the mental health.
Yeah.
It really does wonders.
Yep.
Really does.
Well, we
wonders.
talked about this last week when you were gone with Zach and Jeff, is about the self-care.
Yes.
And I do think there's something to be said about taking time
Yeah.
for yourself. The other thing I'm working on is how to take care spiritually. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today related to gratitude is I have just started, or I'm working on starting, Jerry Weber, our good friend,
Yeah.
turned me on to a book that I'm going to start working with. Let me find my Kindle. Anyway, it is called The New Spiritual Exercises. Are you familiar with the Spiritual Exercises by St. Ignatius?
Yes. Is this going to be a quiz now where you ask me what they
No.
are?
If you say
Okay.
yes, I trust you.
Yeah.
So this is called the new, so that's the spiritual practices. The new spiritual practices is where we are. The new spiritual practices in the spirit of Pierre Desjardins.
Yeah.
Is that how you say that?
Sure it is.
My French is
Desjardins.
no bueno.
Yeah.
Español solamente español. Y francés no bueno. So the new spiritual practices of Pierre Teilhard Desjardins. Can you spell that? Pierre. There it is.
Heyo.
See, in South Georgia, we say Teilhard Desjardins.
We're just going to call him Pedro.
If anyone is interested in this type of thing, one of the things, it's important for me as I've been working on this with the spiritual director is to think about, okay, for me, I'm a systematic process guy. So like when I play golf, or I haven't played golf in a long time, but when I do, I don't have a problem with going to the driving range and practicing. That's enjoyable for me. Most people hate that. They just want to go play golf, which is why they stink all the time and they never get better.
Right.
They wonder why I've been playing a long time, never get any better. It's because you don't practice. But the process to me is very feeding to my soul.
Yes.
So
Yes,
one of the things that I found is that I need some process. So one of the things I've talked about is I use the Divine Office. We've talked about that in here before, which is an app you can download, and it reminds you multiple times during the day, whether through its audio, it'll read it for
Yeah.
you. So if you're walking or you're in the car, but you can also read it, the scriptures for every single day. There's at least 5 or 6 times for prayer.
That's great.
And so it reminds me. Now, do I do every time they tell me? No. What this book, The Spiritual Practices of St. Ignatius, has been around forever. Of course, the Jesuits follow that religiously. Get that? How I say
I
religiously?
saw that.
It's good.
Yeah, thank you.
And then what Teilhard Desjardins, it's around these weeks. So it's basically a 4-week spiritual exercise process. And he talks about keeping a journal, talks about prayerful intention, talks about, so for the first week, for example, it's the presence of God, the way God loves, the principle and the foundation, the Thanksgiving Examen, the positive particular examen. So these things that you can use, which is sort of a devotional guide, but actually increase your intentionality and your spirituality. And the one thing that hit me as I'm getting into this was the Thanksgiving Examen. And I thought,
I love this.
that's interesting. It's Thanksgiving. And here, Pierre de Desjardins, has got this Thanksgiving Examen, which is actually not original to him. It was part of St. Ignatius's things. But what he says here is that, of course, Teilhard. What are we going to let's just call him Pierre?
Okay.
Can we just call him Pierre? So Pierre was pretty much an optimist. He kind of went sideways with the church because he had some views. He was a scientific mind. So he had some views about science and evolution that didn't jive well with the Jesuits and the church, and so he kind of got sideways with them. But he was always very foundational with faith. He was trying to bridge the science-faith gap. But in prayer, instead of he had a lot of things. This is interesting now if you think about life. He had sort of some divergent views, so he probably lived a lot of his life in tension with the church that he loved,
right?
Because of this, right? His evolutionary views. And he could have spent a lot of time thinking about his failures, his disappointments, and discouragements. This has been important for me in the last 2 weeks. And I think a lot of us in our lives, over the past 20 months particularly, we focus a lot on the negative, the discouragements, the division.
Yes.
Now, have you done that?
No, I did that a couple days during the whole last
Just
2
2
years.
days?
Yeah, it was 2 days. They were bad 2 days.
No
John.
wonder you were always
Just
in
always
such a good
chipper
mood.
and just, that's
why
how
I like being around
That's
you.
how I roll, John. Yeah.
I'm like a robot.
Right? It's just, it was really hard. It was really hard.
Think about our kids. Think
Yeah.
about... So anyway, it's Louis Savory is the guy who wrote this book, but he's basing it off the spirituality of Pierre Desjardins. But anyway, he says instead of Pierre focusing on his failures and disappointments, he focused a lot of his spiritual life on praise, reverence, and gratitude when he related to God.
Yes.
He felt like whenever I relate to God, I want to think about the things that are positive in my life rather than all the things that are negative.
Yeah.
And so what Savory writes is that in recent years, psychologists have discovered a basic law of psychological and spiritual life. We might call it the first law of spiritual energy. And it's simply this: energy follows attention.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah. My spiritual director says where your attention goes, your energy flows.
Ooh, that's even a little rhyme.
Yeah. That's how she breaks that down. Where your attention goes, your energy flows.
Yeah, so energy follows attention.
Yeah.
Wherever you focus your attention is where the energy of your body, mind, and spirit go.
Yeah.
And so my aha moment's just been in the last week and a half for me, that I feel different. I see things different. I look at people different because I made a conscious decision and turned. I was like, I just need to do something different.
Right.
It's just not working.
Yeah.
And that involved body, mind, and spirit for me. But it's given me the capacity to really focus more on, there's plenty of negatives still around.
Right.
Newsflash. There's still plenty of discouragement. There's still people that are not happy and the world's not flowing right. But man, my attitude is really different. I mean, I don't even know if you could tell. I mean, just when I had so many people on Sunday, it's like, man, I can tell.
Dude, I posted about you on Sunday and just I was like, there's something happening. Like God is like you're at a different place for sure.
So I think your body, mind, your spirit goes where your attention is focused. So in terms of this first law of spiritual energy, Teilhard focused on God's grace, his own resilience, his capacity to adapt, to restore his enthusiasm for his work and his relationships. And he writes, he was willing to try anything for Christ. If he was blocked from pursuing one avenue, he'd find another way. He kept his eye on his vision of the Christ project, which was his work project, which he felt like he was created and called to be a part. But he realized that his life had this nightly review process that he based off. Now, Pierre Desjardins was also a Jesuit and a scientist, so he was a priest and a scientist. St. Ignatius is sort of the founder of the Jesuit movement. He followed Ignatius' spiritual exercise process. So every night he would review his daily focus, and he would focus on what went right instead of what went wrong. Now, Ignatius has an examen, they call it, an examen of Thanksgiving in the same way. But he built off of this. So this is what he would do. And this is, I think, is really, really fascinating. I think if I start doing this, it's even going to help even more. Every day, now Ignatius said you do it twice a day, once before the midday meal and then another time at night. But Pierre would do it every night. And first, there's 5 steps. First, you just give thanks to God in general, just for all the good things that you have in life. So at a very high level, thanks for life today, that I didn't step off the street and get hit by a bus. Whatever it is, the clouds,
rain,
look at the weather, look,
on.
I had a good interaction.
Yeah.
Bobby fixed us a great cup of coffee.
That's right.
Whatever, it's just general things. Second is to ask for grace to recognize the particular things that happen to you and to other that you should be grateful for. So that's really an awareness. Lord, can you make me more aware of the little things that happen every day, to prepare me for tomorrow, to prepare me for this afternoon, to prepare me for the day, that I can look and be more attuned and aware to those little things. Third is to take account of your day. From the hour you get up till the present time, hour by hour, period by period. First, your good thoughts, ideas, and intentions. Then your good words spoken and heard. Then your good acts, your actions and those of others, small or large, that positively touched your life or someone else. Now, Ignatius and Chardin are big on put that in your journal.
Mm-hmm. Write it down.
Capture it.
There's something about the process of
Do you
writing
journal?
it. I do.
So you're going to have to speak to this, because that's not something I've done, and I think that I need to start doing this.
Yeah. There's something, I've journaled since I've been like 12 years old. And
Did you have a diary with a little key and a
yeah,
lock?
I did. And I have all the keys in a lockbox now in a bank. But it's been something that I've done all my life, and and the other thing is, in recovery, you write down things as well. So you write yourself. There's a whole concept about you write yourself into change, right? That writing is a really important process of the way our brain and our mind and our bodies assimilate and absorbs information, right? That's why thinking doesn't work as much as thinking and writing. Like, it's a focused, and it's an embodied kind of way of doing that, right? And so there's a guy I know that did his PhD that really studied about the process of, within the recovery movement, of writing yourself into change. And there's a whole kind of psychology around that. So I think journaling is important.
Yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that just is like mad at myself that I haven't been journaling or, capturing those things. There's so many things, so many experiences I've been through. I tried to start, I remember in the early 2000s when we did when I was a part of a church merger and went through the first process, I decided I was going to start journaling, and I did it for like a week, and then I just, because it wasn't my discipline,
How often do you go back and read old?
No,
Never.
I rarely. I think what I'm realizing in my own journals and my journals are not like, today I had a meeting with. It's not that.
Okay.
I'm really processing emotional, spiritual stuff in that place. And I found one of my journals from about 6 or 8 years ago, and I read through it and was just like, oh, this is painful to read, because I realize it's in the moment I'm working things out, and trying to figure something out as I write.
So it's not so much a record as it is a way of processing.
And it really isn't for anybody else to read. Like, I would be like, I have a place I put all of them, and then I'm really thinking about destroying them way before I get,
incinerator somewhere.
I want you to come over, John, and destroy them when I die if I go before you.
Now, at the beginning of this particular book, Savory talks about journaling. He has a whole section on the process and the practice of journaling. And I haven't read that part yet, but I know it's there. I'm going to get to that to sort of give me some framework. But that's what he's suggesting here, or in this daily examen of Thanksgiving, is that you're thinking through hour by hour, period by period, good thoughts, ideas, things you've said, things other people have said, actions, small, large, that positively touched your life, and to record those things. So it wasn't like 7:02, ate my egg.
Yes, right.
4 almonds.
four
No, it was 5 almonds. Right.
Speaking of that, there's a lady in my church, my first church. I went to visit her one time in her house, and she had this cup on the kitchen counter, and it was filled with these looking like black, swollen looking, horrible, ugly, I don't know what it was, and some white liquid. And I said, Miss Jeanette, what is that? She goes, oh, she was real country. She says, those are my raisins. I said, what? She goes, here's my raisins, my gin raisins.
My gin raisins.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she has a glass of gin, and every day she puts the raisins in the glass of gin. This is exactly what my grandmother would do. And she, and then every evening, she doesn't drink.
She doesn't
No.
drink.
No, she doesn't
just
believe
like
it. No,
raisins.
you don't drink. You don't drink
I love
alcohol.
raisins.
They turn into grapes.
But
It's the reverse.
But they sit in there all day, and they start out at these little raisins, and by the end of the day, they're like big as round.
Yeah,
as your
they're
thumb.
grapes.
And you just pop a few of those, and they're healthy, right? It's your gin raisins.
those are
But
figs.
she doesn't drink. They don't drink, right? So it was interesting when the Braves and the Astros were in the World Series. Miss Jeanette called me,
Oh, really?
and I called her back. She had to get my number from like a
Somebody,
friend of my
yeah.
mom or something. And she called me and she left me a voicemail. And she said, I'm just your old friend Jeanette, just thinking about you. And she said, or something like that. And I called her. I said, hey, because I already had my gin raisins.
My gin raisins.
And I'm just like, man, I talk about what I'm thankful for that day. I was
Yeah.
thankful for that interaction
that's
to remember.
so great.
Yeah.
She also used to keep her Christmas tree up all year. And so what she did over in her living room, she had a Christmas tree up, and you go visit her, and when it wasn't Christmas, she just throw a sheet over the top of it.
I love it. Like you couldn't see it. What is
That's
that?
the best thing in the world.
That is great.
That's like the way to roll. Speaking
throw
of
a sheet on
the pandemic, someone else told me when I said I'd put my Christmas tree up early, they said, oh, we kept ours up all year, and we just decorated it differently for all the seasons.
Brilliant.
Easter, Mardi Gras.
Just whatever it
They
is.
just had
Lent.
different decorations. July 4th.
That's great.
So
can I talk about that?
Yeah, we're all over the map
This is
here.
like this is a linear
We might make it to
podcast.
the fifth.
Like one of the things that's interesting about what you're talking about is that there's all this research on gratitude. These two researchers, Edmonds and McCullough, have been researching gratitude for the last 20 years, and they look at folks that like one of the research studies that they did is they had a group of folks that were writing down what they were grateful for every day for 30 days. Another folks that were writing down just events. And then another group of folks that were writing down things that bothered them, things that happened that day that didn't go right, right?
Like the
Things
scientific test.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And here they found that folks that were kept a gratitude journal. This is for 30 days, John. Now, think about this being like a not just a trait, but I think that the gratitude is really a disposition that you can cultivate.
It's a way of life.
Yeah, right. That enhanced well-being is a marker that increases. Deeper relationships, optimism is improved. You have increased happiness and scaled happiness, better self-control, better physical and mental health. And this question about an overall better life, and this is within stronger physical kind of a desire to work out. It comes in that too, and then stronger neurological based morality is what they said, which is you have the more resistance to the things that you don't want to do. Right? Because there's but Paul says, why do I do the things I don't want to do? Well, they're saying that that if you keep if that becomes a way that you live, all these things begin to happen. And I think, I've talked about this before. I think gratitude is the superfood of the spiritual life. I think it is the thing that everything else hangs off of. And they say that there's two kind of stages to gratitude. And I think the first stage is acknowledging kind of what is, like what you're saying, like what is happening in your life. It's attention. It's training our minds to see things that are in front of us that are good, right? I think our reptilian brain, which some of my friends call the monkey mind, end up kind of racing towards what is going wrong and how can
I've done that.
mitigate
That's
that.
been me the last. I mean,
me too.
And I've never considered myself like a negative, depressive, half empty
Glass full,
kind of person.
Yeah.
And I would say even at the beginning, like most people at the beginning of the pandemic, I had a lot of stamina. I mean, I've always prided myself to say I can deal with a lot of crap. I've dealt with a lot of crap in my life. I have a high threshold for
Crap.
Crap.
Your crapometer.
My crapometer is
pretty
very
good.
high. And I've always been one to be that sort of a non-anxious presence.
You
kind
are.
of no high highs, no low lows, just kind of steady Eddie, right? Which is a good leadership trait. But what happened was, so when the pandemic started, it's like, okay, we can weather this. What's it going to last? Month,
2
months, 3
We got
months,
this.
right? And then it goes on and on and on. And then it's like, okay, well, September, it's going to be over. We're back to church in
course,
September.
yeah.
But then that change. People don't come back, and it just drags on and on and on and on. And then another wave. And then the spring, the vaccines come. And then all of a sudden,
got a
everybody's
Delta.
arguing about vaccines. And then it's like masks come off. And then it's like summer. It's like, oh, June, we're back to normal. And then another wave. And it's just at some point, I remember in college, I tore the ligaments in my ankle playing racquetball. And I was very athletic back then. Don't let this body fool you.
Hey.
And I was on crutches for like 6-8 weeks.
Wow.
Getting around college campus.
Yeah.
And, your young mind, it's like first week, 2 weeks, like I'm strong. I can do this, no problem. But I mean, you hit a wall where you're just like massively depressed because
Like
you
you're
can't
done.
go do
Yeah.
what you want to do. You can't move around.
Mobility is
I mean,
limited.
it's just, you hit this dark spot. So you can imagine, I think we've all been through that. And I think the people in denial about it are people that have repressed the struggles that they've had. I think that's where you find some lack of honesty, some bad behavior that comes out in people's lives because they haven't been honest. I think that's the one thing that's helped me in recent days is to finally sit and say, what am I afraid of?
Right.
And to kind of like sit with it, not in a way that it has power over me or debilitates me, but just honestly kind of spend some time with it.
Absolutely.
It's okay. Well, what if I lose these things I'm afraid to lose?
Yeah.
I was like, well, it wouldn't be the end of my life.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, even if I lost my job, if the church came and said, we just don't really think everybody else is doing a bad job too, but we think you're not
leading
doing,
the bad job.
but you're
John.
not doing a great job. So we thought maybe we might change you. And it's like, and I'm thinking, okay, well, if that happens, I mean, guess what? There's other jobs. Market's really good right now for hiring people.
Yeah.
I got some restaurant experience. I worked in a Red Lobster one time.
You know what? I think about what Jesus said, make friends with your enemies along the way. And what do you do when you realize that you are your own worst enemy, right? And so, like, I think partly is that you befriend that. I think part of that call is to say, okay, fear, like what you're doing, what do you have to teach me? I push you away far enough with these anxiety management systems, and it's not working for me. So what do I do? How do I befriend that fear in the presence of Jesus and maybe a wise guide in that to say, what is the message of fear? Oh, okay, that's your message. Will that happen? What's it saying? And you kind of deconstruct that through the spiritual process that we're in, and you realize, okay. Okay.
And so anger becomes a tool you use to keep the fear at bay. But man, anger doesn't produce anything positive.
No.
There's some righteous anger. The anger
It can. But
but the problem is I don't really see a lot of people using anger for positive purposes right now.
No. Yeah. Not as a consistent way to deal with fear. Right?
I wasn't. I mean, to remedy injustice, there's a place where you see someone being taken advantage of, or you see someone being bullied, it makes you angry. You want to stand in the gap.
Absolutely.
That's righteous anger.
Yeah.
This other stuff is just angry about everything.
Like resentment. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's these 5 things of a Thanksgiving examen every day is one, just a general thanks to God for all the things, and then to ask God to give you the vision to recognize things that happen. That's the second thing. Make me aware. The third is that specific going down the day, going down the hours, going down the things that have happened. Then the fourth is just praise and thank God for all the opportunities you had to make a difference in the world today, to inspire you to recognize more and more of the opportunities that'll be in front of you in the future.
Yeah.
So it's like, thank you, God, for opening the door to me to speak a word of kindness for someone, to build someone up.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about this is that then in the examen, I begin to see the really small interactions. It's like, where did you make a difference in the world? Well, I didn't cure cancer again today. I didn't solve world hunger, but I had this like interaction with this person in the dry cleaning line that was really connected, and that that's what I'm thankful for. Yeah, that's really what I'm thankful for. It's like, oh, how do I notice those things, right? And be present to that every place is a place of divine presence.
Yeah, we were eating a meal, and the little girl that was waiting on us, I don't say that in any other way than she's probably 23 years old, older than my daughter. That's what I call my daughters, but we were talking about where she goes to church at Ecclesia, and we were just talking about church, and she goes to church not far from here.
Yeah.
She's like, yeah, we're having our little fall festival and all this kind of stuff, and we were just like, here's a moment when you're willing to like open yourself up to a stranger.
Right.
You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
That's sort of an encouragement that works both ways.
It is. Yeah.
And gives life in that moment. And then the last thing is to, ask God to open those opportunities to thank God for that. But the last one is to thank God for all that God has done for you. And to ask yourself, what can I envision doing that would lead me to be even more deeply grateful? What can I do that would lead me to be even more deeply grateful? That then is sort of, all right, what difference does it make? What do I do? How will I live differently now moving forward that would allow me to be a more grateful person?
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, I didn't write it.
No, but still beautiful.
But I appreciate it. Thank you. I read it well.
You did read it well. Edmund says that there's like 2 stages of gratitude. The first one is acknowledging the goodness of life, these small interactions, the things that happen in our lives, that we attune our mind and our attention to those things. And then the second is that it's the recognition that there's some other source of gratitude and goodness, or goodness that lies beyond ourselves, right? That I'm not the center of what produces goodness in my life. Like these interactions with other people, or maybe it's an animal, or maybe it's the weather, right? That these things are given, they're good moments, and they allow us to capture and to be present to these good moments. And they're to ultimately turn us towards God, right? That's the Augustine, our hearts are restless.
Going back to Yellowstone, the little kid, don't you remember what... Don't you? Yeah, full circle, bookend.
Look at that.
Do you remember how Rip tells a kid, he goes, don't ever think you deserve this.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I mean, he's not the most uplifting dude. But what he was trying to tell this kid was, don't take this for granted.
Don't take for this. Yeah, that's right.
You be thankful that you're able to hear and shovel horse manure out of the stall.
That's right.
Don't think you're owed this. Don't think you deserve this.
Yeah.
And I always thought, that's the thing. I think a lot of us in our
that's really good.
Culture, there's a sense of entitlement that we all deal with.
Right.
Especially if you've been fortunate to be a part of society that, hadn't had to worry about food scarcity or housing scarcity or those types of things.
Yeah.
Which I've had a lot of struggles in my life. Those have not been things where I had to wonder, didn't know where my next meal was coming from.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It does. I mean, I think gratitude is something that helps right size the ego, right? Because if my mind is being trained, if that's the dojo of the mind is gratitude, I'm going to practice this. I'm going to write these things down during the day, that my mind is attending towards those things, then it right sizes my ego. In the midst of that, if I've been thankful for core relationships, and then I'm in attention with a core relationship, I'm carrying that gratitude into that, and I'm thinking about ways through it rather than ways out of the relationship. I'm thinking about how do we reconnect, or the connection of this, rather than how do I win this fight, right? And I think it just opens up pathways of deeper relationality all the way through.
That's great.
It's cool. I've been working on a video where I bring people into the studio and they don't know why they're here. And I go, think of someone that you're grateful for and FaceTime them right now, and we'll record it. And you just tell them that you're thankful for
I love that.
And it's interesting because when you're talking about the practice of gratitude versus the head knowledge of being grateful for someone, they'll go, oh, I'm grateful for this person. And then when they're telling that person, it hits their heart.
You're doing that?
Yeah.
I love that, Jeff.
Yeah, and it's
here?
Yeah.
Well, I'm John Stevens.
And I'm Matt Russell.
And this is Pod Have Mercy.